So you want to make a custom character in Crusader Kings for versions 1.15 or 1.16? So this video is aiming to answer a question from a previous video that I'll put up on the screen now. If you do have any questions or tutorials you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. So to start us off, we're going to go to all installed mods, and we're going to go upload mod. We're going to create a mod. We're going to call it test character. We can name it anything we'd like, but I'm just going to name it test character for today. Then I'm going to go with gameplay tag, create that mod. And now we need to go to our file explorer. So once we're in the file explorer, we can find our mod folder here. So for me, this is test character. So this folder location is documents, Paradox Interactive, Crusader Kings III mod. We can go into there, and then we can also make some new folders. So we will be copying the base game files. So in here, we've got the common folder, and then we've also got the DNA_data folder that we need to copy. So we're going to add that into our mod folder now. So common, and then inside of that, DNA_data. And then we have to find another one in the base game files. It is under the GFX folder, into portraits, and then portraits modifiers. So we're going to have to copy that file location as well. So we'll exit out of the common folder there, make a new one, GFX. And we'll call the next one portraits, and then the next one portrait modifiers. So we've got those folders in there now, so we just need to make another folder as well. So we need to make a history folder in here, and then characters and also titles. So we'll make that as well. So we go history, then enter here, and then make a new folder called characters, and then make a new folder called titles. So that is our file or folder location set up. We need to now go into our common folder and make a new text document within the DNA data folder. So new text document, we'll call it 00_test_dna.txt. So anywhere I put the word test, you can swap out with whatever you like. And then once we're done with that, we can exit out of that, go into GFX, portraits, portrait modifiers, and add another text document in called 02_all_test_characters.txt. And then we'll go back again into our history folder, go into characters, and then make a new text document called test characters or test car. And then once we've made that file, we can go back into the game file. So this is the base game files here. We can go into titles here, and then we can find any place that we'd like to swap out somewhere. So we can go, from my example, I'm going to go with kingdom_France.txt. So I'm just going to copy that into, we'll go history first and then move that into the titles. So that goes into the titles page there. So now that all our folders are set up, we can go back to Steam, and then we want to make sure that in properties in general, we want to make sure that our launch options say debug_mode and develop, so that we can edit a portrait there in the game. We want to launch the game with no mods, so playset no mods, click play. So once that's launched, you immediately press tilde or the key to the left of your 1, and you can press portrait editor after that, and then you can click randomize DNA, get a random DNA, and you can go through these genes here and add anything you would like. So you could go here styles, and then do a subgroup, and you could look for northern styles, curly perhaps, and you can change the slider here. It is really fun to go through and change all of these variables and such. I do recommend doing it as well for learning reasons, because you can change, like for example, just the eye color. You could make that full red, or do whatever you like. But yeah, there are a bunch of different genes that you can change. Some are called genes, but they aren't actually genes. Like you could change the headgear, for example, which doesn't which isn't a gene, it's just clothes, but it will still be under this. But yeah, when you are going through all of these different things, I do recommend, once you find something that you like for example, I quite like this hat, you want to take note of it, the code name here, so male underscore headgear underscore secular underscore mana underscore high underscore nobility underscore 01. Take note of these, and you can go looking for them in the base game files as to what they're actually called, and then actually declare them in the character file that I will show you very shortly. Yeah, the main thing that we are wanting to do here is go and copy persistent DNA once you have made your character. So I'll go ahead and click that, and you can exit out of Crusader Kings now. So once we've exited Crusader Kings, we can go back into our file explorer and find our mod folder again, go into common data, and then just open any file with Visual Studio Code. So once that's open, you can go ahead and copy paste the DNA that you have just copied from in-game, and then you can go and highlight everything and then press tab to bring it forward one, and then enter at the top here, press tab again on that, and then type in what you want your character value to be. For example, anything above 900,000 ID is, I would consider, safe to use. I believe in the past it was at least 500,000, but I'm just playing it safe with at least 900. So we can go 900,001, for example, underscore test underscore character or car, and then equals curly brackets, and then we can go down to the bottom here and add in another curly bracket there. So this is essentially our character done in terms of DNA. Since we're now done with this file, we can go into our GFX portraits modifiers and enter it into this text document. We can start typing in here. We can go historical underscore characters underscore accessories equals curly brackets, and then usage equals game, and then selection underscore behavior, American spelling as well, equals max, priority equals 2, and then enter your DNA name that you put in at the top of this. So mine, for example, would be 900,001 underscore test character. So you put that in there, and then equals curly brackets, and then you can start editing the DNA using DNA underscore modifiers equals curly brackets, and you can go accessory equals curly brackets, and then mode equals add, and then gene equals, I'm just going to do hairstyles, so I'm going to be editing the hairstyle of my character. You can go template, and then accessory. So you might have noticed I haven't put the values in for these yet. That's because you can go into the base game files and then have a look at, for example, the historical characters under GFX portrait modifiers, all historical characters. You can have a look at all the different characters in the game that are scripted, for example, and see what they have as their values. If you like a certain hairstyle, you could go about it this way. I will, for example, use the northern hair that Jarl Hasteen has. So I can go with scripted hairstyles 01 and put that as the template, and then go into male hair northern as the accessory. And you could, for example, go beyond that. We can go with accessories equals mode equals add, gene equals, I'm going to go with legwear, for example, just for this tutorial, template equals, and then accessory equals. So I will go through the base game files with you so you can see in all these different files. So this one, for example, is GFX portraits accessories. You can find a whole bunch of different variable names for all of the clothing. So in this legwear.txt, I have found here the male underscore legwear underscore secular underscore episode 1 underscore jester underscore 01. So this would be the accessory value, and if you go down into the portrait modifiers instead of the accessories, and you can go to legwear base for this example, and you can just control F and search through these files for a certain word you like. So for example, jester, and you can find that this is the template. So episode 1 jester legwear. So I will be using this in my file. So that would be the template there. So episode 1 jester, and then for the accessory it would be male legwear secular episode 1 jester _01. So I will just leave these accessories as is, just for this tutorial. Now it's going on to making the character here. So we're going to reuse that DNA number we gave it, our character. So 900 and 1001, and then equals curly brackets, and we put a name to the character. So for my character I'm going to use test char, or test character. DNA equals 900 and 1000 underscore test underscore char. So that would be the same as this here. And then we got the dynasty. I'm just going to use the Carling dynasty for this tutorial, but you can create your own dynasty, or you could add yourself to a different dynasty altogether. But for my tutorial, for example, I'm just going to use 25061, which is the Carling dynasty that Charlemagne is from. And we're going to go to religion, Catholic, and then culture equals French, and then we can start typing in our stats for the character. So for mine, I'm just going to do martial equals 30, diplomacy equals 30, intrigue equals 30, stewardship equals 30, learning equals 30. Just absurd numbers, but these are all base values. The traits will actually add more to it. So we can go with, we start with our traits now. So we can go with our education trait. So education, we can go with diplomacy 3, and then we can start with our personality traits after that. So we can go with deceitful, we can go with calm, and we can go with diligent maybe. And then we can even add congenital traits. So we can go trait equals beauty good 1, for example. So that would give this character comely. And then we can go female equals no. So this here, it defaults to no, but I like to type it in anyway. If you are creating a female character, you have to type in female equals yes. But moving on from that, we're going to go sexuality. We're just going to go with heterosexual. And then I'm going to, you don't actually have to put in a family or your parents in the code, but I'm going to put Charles the Bald as my father for an example. So 90104 is Charles the Bald. You can find the DNA numbers in the base game files. So this, for example, could be found in here. So Charles the Bald 90104. So you can see all of his stats. You could go through and edit his file as well in your mod if you want that. And then the mother is the first wife of Charles the Bald for me, so 167830. And then this is another way of editing your character in this screen. So you can go portrait underscore override equals curly brackets, and then I'm going to just change the hair RGB. So hair equals it is a between 0 and 1 values. You have to type them in 3 times. So I'm going to use 0.2, 0.1, 0.8. That should turn up with a purplish blue. So after the portrait override, we can go and start in our dates as well. So we could go 844.1.1. So this is the year 844, the 1st of January. And we can go birth equals yes. So this is when my character will be born. And then in 867, in the 1st of January, that's when the first game will start. So that's the first timestamp in the Crusader Kings base game. We can go add underscore character flag, add underscore character underscore flag equals do underscore not underscore generate underscore starting underscore family. So this will make it so that your character doesn't start with any spouse or children. You could leave this empty, or you could just not put it in at all, but this is just for testing purposes to show you what it looks like. So this is now done. This is our character complete. If we go now to the titles folder in K underscore France, we can then go all the way down here and have a look at some of the county names. So this is, for example, C underscore Brive underscore French there. So it's kind of close to Paris. So if we go to date wise, we want to go around 867. So 867 on the 1st of January, our character, so 900,001 becomes the holder. And then we can also do it with some other counties as well. So we can go down here to 867, make our character the holder here. So yeah, 9001 and 867. And you also got this county here, so we'll swap this guy out here. So Charles the Bald is no longer having that county, it'll be our character. Alright, so now that we've swapped some of the counties out as well, we can now upload the mod and click play. So when I upload a mod, I normally go to all installed mods. I go upload mod, find the mod that I was working on, so test character, then Steam Workshop, add a description of at least 10 characters, and then upload that mod. And once that's done, we can go now to Steam, we can go Workshop, we can go Files I've posted, Test Character, and then subscribe to it, and then go to Playsets, and then look for an empty playset or make a new one. From mine, I'm just going to use Test. I'm just going to add that to the current playsets, remove the on file mod, and that'll be our mod for today. So now we can click play after changing the playset. So once your game is launched, you can click new game. Make sure you click 867 if you put the dates as the same as mine, and you can click any ruler. Once that's loaded in, we can now look at our character that we have made. So this is Prince Testcar of West Francia, and you can see that he's gotten all of his traits and his stat numbers, his name is there, his culture and faith. If we go to the barbershop, his jester pants are there as well, and his purple hair. Yeah, so it seems like everything that we have put in here is working and is looking good. Alright, that is the end of this tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. If you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more tutorials, and let me know if you have any more tutorials that you would like to see me do. Cheers.